Here is a list of some common thinking errors or biases that people often fall prey to. 1. Confirmation bias is a cognitive bias that refers to the tendency to favor information that confirms one's existing beliefs or values, and to ignore or dismiss information that contradicts them. This bias can lead people to only seek out information that supports their pre-existing beliefs and to ignore or discount information that contradicts their views. This can lead to a reinforcement of those beliefs, even in the face of new information that should challenge them. Confirmation bias can have a significant impact on decision-making and can lead to poor choices, as people may only consider information that supports their preconceived notions, rather than considering all relevant information. This bias can also contribute to the spread of misinformation, as people may be more likely to share information that confirms their beliefs and ignore or dismiss information that contradicts them. To counteract confirmation bias, it's important to be aware of the potential for this bias to impact one's thinking and to actively seek out information that challenges one's existing beliefs. It's also important to be willing to consider new information and to update one's beliefs in light of that information, even if it contradicts one's previous beliefs. 2. The availability heuristic is a cognitive bias that refers to the tendency for people to base their judgments and decisions on information that is readily available to them, rather than considering all relevant information. People often rely on information that is most easily retrieved from their memory or that is most easily accessible, rather than carefully considering all relevant information. For example, if someone is asked to estimate the number of countries in the world, they may rely on their recent experience of reading a news article about a particular country, rather than doing research to get an accurate answer. This can lead to overestimations or underestimations, and can result in incorrect judgments and decisions. The availability heuristic can be particularly problematic when people are dealing with new or complex information, as they may be more likely to rely on easily available information, even if it is not the most accurate or relevant. To counteract this bias, it's important to be aware of the potential for the availability heuristic to impact one's thinking, and to actively seek out all relevant information before making a decision or forming an opinion. This can involve doing research, seeking out multiple perspectives, and avoiding relying too heavily on information that is easily available. 3. Hindsight bias, also known as the knew-it-all-along effect, refers to the tendency to believe, after an event has occurred, that one would have predicted or expected the outcome. This can result in people overestimating their ability to predict events or outcomes, and can lead to overconfidence in their ability to make accurate predictions in the future. For example, after a sports game, someone might say that they knew the outcome all along, even if they didn't actually predict it correctly before the game began. Hindsight bias can be influenced by a number of factors, such as the desire to appear knowledgeable or the tendency to selectively remember information that supports one's views. Hindsight bias can have a number of negative consequences, such as reducing the willingness to take risks, as people may become overconfident in their ability to predict future outcomes. It can also result in incorrect evaluations of the quality of past decisions, as people may view decisions that turned out well as being better than they actually were, and decisions that turned out poorly as being worse than they actually were. To counteract hindsight bias, it's important to be aware of the potential for this bias to impact one's thinking, and to make an effort to reflect on past decisions and predictions objectively, rather than being influenced by the outcome. It can also be helpful to keep records of past decisions and predictions, in order to have a more accurate basis for evaluating one's ability to predict future outcomes. 4. The negativity bias refers to the tendency for people to give more weight to negative information than to positive information. This can result in people perceiving negative events as being more significant or impactful than positive events, and can lead to a skewed perception of the world. For example, someone might remember a single negative comment from a friend for a long time, while forgetting many positive comments from the same person. This can lead to feelings of negativity and pessimism and can impact mental health and well-being. The negativity bias is thought to have evolved as a survival mechanism, as being more sensitive to negative information, such as threats to one's safety, was important for survival. However, in modern society, this bias can have negative consequences, as people may be more likely to focus on the negative aspects of a situation and overlook the positive aspects. To counteract the negativity bias, it's important to be aware of the potential for this bias to impact one's thinking and to make an effort to balance one's focus on positive and negative information. This can involve seeking out positive experiences, focusing on the positive aspects of a situation, and deliberately counterbalancing negative thoughts with positive ones. 5. The anchoring bias refers to the tendency for people to rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive, the anchor, when making subsequent judgments or estimates. This can result in people making decisions or forming opinions that are overly influenced by the initial information, even if that information is not relevant or accurate. For example, if someone is asked to estimate the price of a used car and is first shown a price that is much higher than they expect, they may subsequently estimate a price that is closer to the initial anchor, even if it is still higher than what they believe is a fair price. Similarly, if someone is asked to estimate the height of a building after being shown an anchor that is much higher or lower than their estimate, they may be more likely to estimate a height that is close to the anchor. The anchoring bias can have significant implications for decision-making and negotiation, as people may be more likely to accept offers or make decisions that are influenced by irrelevant or inaccurate initial information. To counteract this bias, it's important to be aware of the potential for anchoring to impact one's thinking and to make an effort to consider all relevant information rather than relying too heavily on the first piece of information received. This can involve actively seeking out alternative viewpoints and being open to adjusting one's estimates or decisions in light of new information. In conclusion, thinking errors are common and can have a significant impact on our beliefs, decisions, and overall well-being. By being aware of these common thinking errors and making an effort to counteract them, it's possible to improve the accuracy and fairness of our thinking and to maintain a more positive and balanced outlook on life. This can involve actively seeking out information from multiple sources and perspectives, considering alternative explanations, and engaging in constructive and respectful dialogue with others. By doing this, we can reduce the impact of these thinking errors and make more informed and accurate decisions that lead to greater happiness and well-being.